This episode of the Red Bull Rant is brought to you by the fine people that support us through patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. Head on over there to support us and get exclusive content when we fucking feel like it. We want to send a special thanks to Chris Adamick, the Maeve Dartinez, Pierre, Eddie Delecto, and Jeremiah Dempster. As always, thanks, guys.
The Red Bull Rant is a free-flowing podcast with three soccer-loving idiots who don't know when to shut their dumb potty mouths. So listener discretion, yeah, it's pretty much advised.
Welcome, my friends, to the show never ends. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Ipico.
I'm Truman, and hey, we're back, and this is episode 439, a most triumphant return. Triumphant for us.
Yeah, not triumphant for the Red Bulls.
No.
So, in case people are wondering why we were off for a month, MLS didn't care about the regular season, so we said, fuck it, why do we care?
Correct.
Honestly, I think we planned on like one or two episodes and we're like, fuck this shit, it's not worth it.
No, it's stupid.
Yeah. But we're back. We'll summarize the Leagues Cup, we'll talk Women's World Cup, and then get into some other stuff. So first, the Leagues Cup. Red Bulls survived, for the better way of phrasing it, their group. They beat New England on penalty kicks. I honestly forget who they played, the Mexican team, but they beat them. They beat them with thanks to a Cornell penalty save and followed up by a goal that nobody on TV saw live because the fucking producer of the game didn't know what they were doing.
Yep, surprise, surprise. Apple TV is still right on top of things.
Well, I think MLS is the one that produces it, but whoever the guy that's in charge of making the call of this is the camera angle and what we're doing right now, didn't think, hey, there's action happening. I should maybe switch the camera.
Yeah, that'd be silly.
Yeah. They won their, what was it? I guess round of 16 match against New York City. 1-0.
Yep.
Against Philly, they surprisingly got a 1-0 lead. Should have absolutely been 2-0, possibly more. Then, surprise, surprise, asking to hold the lead for 85 minutes doesn't really work, and went to penalty kicks and lost to Philly on penalty kicks. I think it was 4-3. So they were out of the Leagues Cup, so at least there's somewhat of a break. I think they got like 2 weeks off. I know we have tweets. Do we want to read them?
Yeah, I mean, all the tweets really came from the last game.
Okay.
So, which is always good to start off a month break with anger. Our friend Eddie Pierre Delecto said, I want to run onto the tarmac and hope I'm run over by a landing Dreamliner. That was so Metro yet again. Tonino M, the Red Bull is built from top to bottom. This organization isn't very good and probably never will be. Is BJ Callahan available? Maybe he can turn chicken shit into chicken salad. At Creepy Taxi, Steven Santos said, that's so Metro, of course. And then our friend Richesco said, hilarious descent into 10th grade pickup soccer in that second half. But seriously, does anything say playing for PKs like going 5-4-1 with Barlow up top for 25 minutes? Waiter, tip your hand, Troy. And then NYC_Ty, say no to fashion, said, such a horrible idea to sub Morgan on at the last minute. There's a lot to delve into on that last game. A lot. A whole lot.
Should we just talk about the last game, I guess?
Well, we could talk. I mean, I'd like to cover just a little bit of everything because there's one big thing if we want to talk about dislikes, right? It's the Red Bull rearing their ugly head again in this entire thing. Lack of goal scoring. The whole time. They scored 2 goals in one game. and 2 of the games went to penalties. Lack of goal scoring bit them in the ass.
They technically scored 4 goals in the tournament, I think. One against New York City, 1 against Philly, 2 against the Mexican team.
So, right, but
4 total.
Unfortunately, that's 4 total in 1,
5
2,
games.
3,
or 4 games.
4 games. 4 games. They scored 4 goals in 4 games.
That's about my first season average. So
right. So again, that's the glaring problem this team still has. Cannot score.
That Van Zier miss that would have made it 2-0 in the first 20 minutes was I don't even know what to say. Like, you have the keeper 1-on-1 like that. If you're a designated player, you have to score those goals. There's no choice.
Yeah, or I mean, at least put a better shot on that he did. Honestly,
at least force a save, which didn't happen.
Yeah, but again, the problem with that is that he missed, and they didn't do anything for the rest of the game. Do you want to delve into the Philly game? Let's just let's get into the Philly game. Bad coaching. Bad coaching.
Fucking embarrassing. Tell us how you really feel.
Okay, you're a shit manager.
Terrible decision making. Terrible second half decisions. Every single one of them was bad. Pulling off all of your scoring players. They started pulling guys off with a 1-0 lead, which is not safe, especially not in Philly. I mean, good God. You thought a 1-0 lead was safe to just start pulling everyone out.
I mean, they almost lost it in the first half, too.
Yeah, and then that Lewis Morgan coming on in the final seconds and having him take the first penalty kick, I thought that was a absolutely terrible decision again. Terrible. No excuse for that. Why he's stepping up first. Why? I just don't understand if you're – listen, they suck, right? We know they suck. Was this probably their better chance to win a trophy? Well, they probably weren't going to beat Miami anyway. But who knows? Maybe if they actually kept most of their players in the game and didn't rely on old fucking Tom Barlow for the rest of it, maybe they could have gotten that second goal in the second half. And maybe they could have not taken this game to penalties. And maybe you could have had better penalty takers in the PK shootout. There's a lot of fucking minutes. Just bad managing.
There's a lot of ifs in there too, right? Because I think when we watched the game live, I said, if Van Zier gets that goal, and all other things being equal, nothing else matters because we win 2-1. Yeah, just bad decision making all around. It's almost like after that Van Zier miss, Sane was like, it's time to bunker. In the first half, I'm pretty sure the last 20 minutes of that half, it was clear we're not going to go forward unless we have an absolute advantage.
Yeah.
And we can't generate advantages this year. Our quote press doesn't work the way it used to. Part of that is the league has gotten much better, and we haven't. And part of that is that we just don't have the same, team cohesion in the press. It's occurring to me that, the Marsh years were great, and part of that is because the league as a whole was a little bit worse off, so they couldn't handle the press as well. But I also feel like Marsh's teams were drilled better in pressing together, where I feel like the current iteration, we are perfectly fine with letting one forward press and nobody following, which wastes the legs of the forward and just allows teams to pass the ball and break lines. I mean, granted, Philly's a good team, right? So that's part of the equation.
Sure.
But we held them to 1 goal. So if we just do a better job as a whole team pressing, I don't think that goal ever happens. But that's besides the point. I don't understand pulling off players. Wait that early. The one tweet about the 10th grade pickup game, that's to a degree part of the Red Bull philosophy. You kind of want to get into a little bit of a track meet situation because you want the other team to run ragged, And when they start doing that, they are more prone to make errors, which means you're probably more effective, right? So the last, 10 minutes of the game, that's almost a plan for the Red Bulls. That's like how we want to play. The problem is the other 80 minutes were not consistent. And I get it. You can't press the whole 90 minutes in fucking middle of August in Philadelphia. That's not going to work. You're just going to tire yourself out much quicker. But you can do it smart, and we're not.
No.
And then taking off two of your designated players when penalty kicks is a real possibility is I can't. I don't know. I understand wanting to keep them fresh.
For what? With a 1-0 lead? Wait,
I
2-0?
mean, you lose,
in the
you have
second
to
half?
break.
Yeah, I get it. Right.
Yeah, if we were up 2 or 3 goals, that's one thing. If we lose, we're on a break. Who cares?
Yeah.
They'll have time to recoup.
Yeah, and if you win, okay, now you're a step closer to then you're in the semifinals of a tournament.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I know people do not like bringing Lewis Morgan on just to take the penalty kick. I don't necessarily disagree with the move. I disagree with him going first.
Yes.
I disagree with bringing him on with literally like a minute to go. You should have brought him on with 10 minutes or so, because let him actually warm up and get into the game a little bit.
Yeah, get his legs on him a little bit.
Exactly. I will say, though, is that penalty kick from Morgan wasn't a terrible penalty kick. It's just that Blake guessed correctly and made a good save.
Yeah.
So I don't really blame Morgan for missing that. That was more of the goalkeeper doing a great job at a penalty kick. But if you bring him in 10 minutes earlier, maybe he's in the game a little more, he's a little more warmed up, and maybe he has a better attempt at a penalty kick.
Right, better zip on the ball or something.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to talk about penalty kicks, I forget who was it hit their fucking crossbar like that. Let's talk about that one.
Woof.
Like
Woof.
penalty kick rule number 1. Put it on net. It doesn't matter where. You got to put it on net and we'll make the keeper make the save. That's
Correct.
all you have to do.
Yep.
If you're going to go high like that, you better fucking make sure it's under the bar. And I mean, I'll even though we gave up 4 penalty kick goals, I'll say Cornell came up big again in penalty kicks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Penalty kicks at this point, the way the rules are written, it's like 99% of the time it's going to the penalty kick taker, not the goalie. So for him to make 1 out of 5 saves, that's actually a pretty good percentage in that situation. I mean, even Andre Blake was technically 1 out of 5 if you count, because he didn't save the one that went off the crossbar.
Right.
It's just I was happy we got a break. 1, because I didn't need this fucking aggravation for the last week, but 2, our players need a break, right? So ultimately, I think this is a good thing. I do not know if League's Cup is going to turn into MLS success, and I am on the side of the fence that says it's not going to. If we were doing blowout wins, then I'd say, yeah, it's going to be, great.
Yeah.
But, and I didn't write the transfer talk on the agenda, but when your biggest off or mid-season acquisition are youth defenders that are probably not going to start immediately, who cares about the tournament? I'd rather have the legs fresh for the stretch that you're going to need, because guess what? You're not in a fucking playoff spot right now.
Yep.
You need all hands on deck for.
Right, and you can't tell me there's not a player you could find somewhere on the planet that you could spend some big bucks on and bring in.
You tell me we couldn't get Apple to swing a Messi type deal for Neymar just for a season. Come on. I know it goes against the ethos of getting guys that are older, but come on. But like right now we're sitting 4 points out of a playoff spot with 11 games to go. Like, this is not a good position to be in.
Nope.
So why are we wasting our time on the Leagues Cup if this is how we were going to do it?
Right.
Now, if we made it like the finals and lost against Messi, that's whatever. because unfortunately Messi's been kind of tearing it up against everybody.
Well, we would have lost in the semifinals to them, but
Okay, well either way, but losing to Messi the way he's been playing, it's whatever.
right. Speaking of, this is something I mentioned online too after that loss. You know what really drives me nuts about this team is that every time they get the opportunity to host a big game, they fucking lose. It's like every time, if it's like in the playoffs or Open Cup or this tournament, hey, if you beat Philly, you'll host the next game, you'll host the semifinal at home. Lost. They do in the Open Cup all the time. Hey, you'll get a semifinal game at home if you win this game. Lose. Every time, oh, this team in the West, this team got knocked out. If you make it to MS Finals, you'll be the host. Lose. It fucking drives me crazy with this team. And they do it consistently. They never, ever, ever step up in the big moment. Ever.
Yeah.
However a big moment this game was, if you want to say it was big or not big, being a League Cup or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like, well, you have a great opportunity to host a game. And you would have hosted against Messi and probably made a lot of money at the stadium.
Well,
just saying.
No, they would have had to go to that the Mexican team or what I can't remember who Philly played.
Oh,
but
come on. They would have beat them too.
I mean, we barely squeaked by against the Mexican team early on.
Yeah.
Who was it? Quintero, I think they say it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, clearly, like, it would have been, like you said, any time that there's a chance at getting to a specific home match in a big tournament against arguably a very beatable opponent, we seem to choke that situation away.
Every time. They're the absolute masters of it.
So, are we done with the on the field stuff for that game?
Yes.
Okay. So I know Mark Fishkin tweeted a picture for the game after we played Philly. I pointed them out during the game. The two guys next to the Red Bulls bench looked kind of familiar in the suits. Vince and Vance Moss. I had to look their names up because I couldn't remember them. The brothers who used to be New York Red Bulls fans who are now apparently Philadelphia Union fans.
Good. Take them. You can have those idiots. Those dudes suck. I don't care that they're army doctors. They suck. They're such posers.
So for anybody who do not know them, obviously army doctors, but specifically, the reason they came to light was because they would sit behind the opposing bench and became known for what's the right word? I'm trying to think of the word off the top of my head and I can't. Chirping. That's what I was thinking of. Chirp. They became infamous for chirping the opposing team. And I think at one point they actually caused one of the players to try to climb up the stairs to fight him.
Yeah, that's like a near incident.
And I guess at some point, from what I saw online, I didn't know this, but apparently at some point the Red Bulls front office had knocked the shit out, and they were like, "Fuck this, we're leaving," and decided to go to Philly. So okay, goodbye.
Yep, I'm totally cool with that.
And I saw the reason I know the names is because I did a quick search and blast from the past named Frank Giassi had written a post about him back in 2015.
Yep, they were army doctors. They were served overseas and all this great stuff, but they're douches. They're just douches. They
grew up around DC, but somehow became MetroStars fans. So I guess it worked out, at least temporarily. I don't know. All right. Anyway, we're done with Leagues Cup, right?
Yes.
We get to talk about another embarrassing moment, the Women's World Cup, at least for the United States.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
It's fucking embarrassing!
Two-time defending World Cup champions out in the round of 16. at least in fairness, they lost to like the third best team in the world, so it wasn't like they lost to some scrub team, but very disappointing result for the United States. They won by only 3 goals against, what was it, Vietnam? It was like their first year in the World Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
They drew their last 2 games, 1-1 to Norway, 0-0 of all things to Spain, or I think it was Spain. Not Spain, Portugal. And came in second in the group and had to face Sweden and got eliminated by the thinnest of margins in terms of a ball being over the line.
Yeah.
On a penalty kick. Like when I look at that picture, I do not see any space between the line and the ball, but you know what? It's too late to say anything now, so but an embarrassing, let me phrase it, embarrassing for the women in terms of how they've done historically in the World Cup. That was the earliest elimination. I think before this, we had never made it lower than third place. So, yeah, they were out of the World Cup, which means, unfortunately, I kind of stopped watching the Women's World Cup because between that and the Red Bulls, I was like, fuck this shit. So
take a little soccer break.
Well, and then Everton had to start back up, and of course, week fucking 1 happened. So, yeah, but not a good look for the women. Hopefully, they'll bounce back in 4 years, but yeah.
No, they're doing with the new coach. Good. So there you go.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen.
It is happening.
Oh, did they officially fire him?
No, he resigned. I believe he resigned. Was the
They mutually parted ways.
That's right. He got future endeavored.
Any thoughts on the Women's World Cup?
No, I think you summed it up. It's just a lot of just bad coaching decisions. We know what that's like. And they just weren't ready to play from game 1. I think that even the games leading up to it, you could kind of tell that they weren't the dominating team that they've been in the past. So I think this is a major transition. Obviously there's a couple star players like, Abby Wambach's, won't be in the team anymore. And a couple of players won't be there. So it's just that reload with youth, right? And get ready for 4 years. When the men's team had to do it, that was that final year when they had like guys like Jermaine Jones, who was way past his prime playing still. And, well, they got really embarrassed. I mean, they got beyond embarrassed because, that's when they didn't even decide to qualify for the World Cup. And that's what caused the men's team to really reload and bring in all the youth players. So that's what you're going to see here too. So 4 years, I think they'll be back. They're always a great team, but sometimes you got to take these lumps, and they took a big one.
So speaking about taking lumps, the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, boy, did he pull some shit with this Women's World Cup. Because, let's see, recently he claimed that the women should, quote, pick the right battles to, quote, convince us men what we have to do over equality issues in soccer. He left the Women's World Cup, I think, after the first round of games. I don't know where he went, but he just left, went somewhere else, where he stayed for the whole World Cup in Qatar. So just a great job by the head of FIFA.
Well, I think no matter what year it is, you can always say that whoever is the head of FIFA is a giant pile of trash, because they always are no matter who it is. It's just how big their pile goes. They're always corrupt, complete douchebags, and they always will be.
Yeah, because unfortunately, that's how you get there.
Correct.
But I mean, at least have the PR sense to stay and not make sexist comments. Like that's kind of an easy win there.
They're douchebags. They always will be.
True. Sepp Blatter was talking about women being sexy, so I mean that's
king of the douchebags.
Let's move on.
Yes.
So the New York Red Bulls are back in action in MLS regular season this Sunday, August 20th, where they will host for the first time this year, played for the first time this year, DC United. Feels like it's been forever since we faced them.
I know. That's all right, though. I don't miss them.
That's fine. It's just weird going from seeing them 3 times a year to 2 now. Plus we don't see them in the playoffs anymore, so.
True.
DC come into the game with a 8-6-10 record, 30 points, -2 goal difference. They currently sit number 9 in the Eastern Conference, which is the very last playoff spot. So you want to talk about a game being a, quote, 6-pointer. This is the absolute definition of one, to make up ground on a team that's in a playoff spot. I didn't want to dig back to their last 5 matches. Their last match was a 5-4 PK loss to the Union in the Leagues Cup in the round of 16, right before we played Philly. So predictions, Truman, you are in the lead for the prediction contest. I know it's been a while since we talked about that. So you get to go first. What do you think is going to happen in DC?
Well, one thing that's going to happen is that I will be there. I'll be at the game. But the bad news is the last 2 times I've gone, last year they lost 1-0 to NYCFC, and
I was there for that one.
And the year before that, the game got rained out. So, which I think was also supposed to be against NYCFC. I think that's supposed to be against NYCFC, and it got rained out. So not doing too good.
Maybe a rain out would be actually better this year.
There's no rain in the forecast.
I mean, it would suck for you because you wouldn't get to see him, but.
No rain in the forecast. So I will be there. I'm also going to this wrestling convention thing in Fairfield during the afternoon. So if you got nothing to do before the game, you should probably check that out. Pretty cool. A lot of AEW people will be there. ECW people. Random people. Anyway, prediction. They can't let me down 3 years in a row. So I think they're going to win. I mean, they can't score more than 2 goals when I'm there. I mean, that's fucking impossible. I'm going to say, oh, God. Let's say 2-0. We'll be creative. Defense will still be good. And it's stupid DC, and then F them. So, a Sunday night game. I don't know how many DC fans will be making the trip up for a Sunday night game, but hopefully they stay home. Because I don't like them. Yeah.
And it occurred to me this is the first Sunday game that we played this year. I don't know if that means we're going to be on Fox Sports or not, but whatever.
No. We'll be on all Snap TV, I'm sure.
Yeah. I want to predict the win because I want to be positive, but I feel like I can't because of the prediction standings. I don't know if 11 games out is the time to start making that change. So, for now, I'm gonna stay in the positive. I am also gonna say 2 goals to the good, but I do not think we're good enough to get a shutout in this one. Recent history has shown that we're not necessarily great at keeping teams off the score sheet when we actually score. So, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win. Against DC. New York Red Bulls 2. I don't know what their last match was. I don't fucking care about that part. Their record is 11-7-5 with 3 shootout wins. 41 points, plus 13 goal difference. Number 4 in the Eastern Conference for MLS Next Pro, which is still the worst fucking name for a reserve league I could think of.
That it is.
Their next match is on Monday, August 21st, 7 p.m. against Atlanta 2 at Montclair. Gotham FC's been pretty busy because, again, no fucking leagues in the U.S. decide to take off when their players are in international tournaments because why would you do something like that?
Yeah, that only makes sense.
So they had 4 games in the NWSL Challenge Cup. They had a 3-1 win at Orlando, followed up by a 4-2 loss at Washington. Then they won 2-0 at home versus North Carolina Courage, and I think finished out the group stage with a 1-1 draw versus Orlando. So in the Challenge Cup, that puts their record at 3-2-1, 11 points, plus 3 goal difference. Number 2 in Group A. They were tied in points, but tiebreakers what kept them from claiming number 1 in the group. Let's see. So that unfortunately means they did not qualify for the semifinals, so they are done with the Challenge Cup. They didn't play any league games over the last month, but just to reset for them, they're 7-4-4, 25 points plus 3 goal difference, number 3 in the NWSL, and their next match is tomorrow at the San Diego Wave, August 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're looking for some Saturday night soccer, then
Bam.
There you go. All right. With that, it is time for the Red Bull F1 update.
And box now, box now, box for hard. Stay out.
Fuck! Why? What I do?
Tire.
Oh, so good. Well, breaking news, nothing's changed. Max Verstappen's still in first place, still dominating, still winning races. Checo's in second. They've also been on a summer break since the end of July. So I think we missed 2 races to Hungary and the Belgium race, which, of course, Max just wins everything.
Yep.
And then they're still off this weekend. So it's next weekend they'll kick off the season again in the Netherlands. So we still have a little bit of time to wait until we get back into the F1 at home.
The best part about the Belgian Grand Prix was Max intentionally taking a 5-spot deduction in the starting grid because he's like, "Fuck this! I want to change my setup."
Yeah,
and he still
didn't matter.
Still qualified first, which meant he ended up and started in 6th, and it just mattered of time, and he took it over.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It just never will.
Ended up with a 22-second lead over his teammate at the end of the race. So, and it was a sprint weekend. He won the sprint. He almost won every single point, but Lewis Hamilton pulled a Max Verstappen, got the quickest lap on the last lap after changing his tires. So,
yeah.
So, I finished watching Drive to Survive, and it made me want to. I hadn't done it before, but I went back and I found the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the one that had all the late stage
controversy.
Yes, that was a very entertaining race.
Yes, it was.
I'm pretty sure they covered it in the Netflix show, but it did not really convey how good of a job Perez did in that race about keeping Hamilton close to Max.
Yep.
If it wasn't for that, I don't think what happened at the end would have mattered.
Yep.
But if you were interested in F1 and you haven't seen it, I would go check the race out. It's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. With that, it is time for the dumping ground.
I'm the trash man.
Have anything written down? I have a thought, but I'll leave it first.
Premier League's back, so that's exciting.
Well, for some people.
Yeah. That's always fun.
When your team gets a goal taken off the board incorrectly and then gives up a goal and loses 1-0.
Yeah, I think Pat mentioned that Wrexham experienced what happens when you move up a level when they got thumped in their first game. I think they lost like 5-2 or 5-3 or something.
I think it was 5-3.
Yeah, and then I think they drew their last game. But yeah, so I mean, soccer all the time now. The Premier League's back, so that I do like that.
So I don't know if I had mentioned this. I know I did mention on the show, but I don't know if I mentioned this to you and Pat. But I am planning to make a trip to England this year to catch a match at Goodison before it is no longer used for Everton.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm in the process of planning that, like for January, to go and catch a game there, do the stadium tour, do a bunch of other stuff because my wife's not just soccer, so I can't do that to her. But looking forward to that. Hopefully, I have a team that is somewhat decent at least. like mid-table. That'd be nice.
And worst case, if they're crap, you could just walk across the park right to Anfield. So
No, it's okay.
it's just a short trip.
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
I mean, I'll walk across the park, but I won't go in the stadium.
Yeah, I'll take a quick walk.
I still can't. So I also got a new phone. I showed you the photo, but I can't believe that the fucking phone case came in a Liverpool box. Like,
Yeah, that was
what
sweet.
kind of shit was that?
They know who you are.
Like, oh, Jason, I pick up. I know who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
You know what it was? It's because it was a red Ted Lasso case. Like, it's red. It's a red box. It works.
Boom, Liverpool, bam, right on it. Let's fuck around. Boom.
NFL is almost back.
Yep.
Preseason mode. Jets are on Hard Knock and
Hard Knocks, nice and exciting.
Thankfully, you're not showing players getting cut. Like they said, they were not. The team told the Hard Knocks crew, we are not going to let you in the room when we cut players.
Good. That's the worst. We should never show that.
Yep. I mean, those are guys trying to make a livelihood. Like that's not.
Yeah, no one needs to see that.
No. It's been a pretty good representation so far. Have you been watching it? I don't know if you have or not.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Why am I watching it?
Well, honestly, I don't watch
Jets.
I don't watch Hard Knocks unless it's Jets. So.
Right. I won't either. Who gives a shit about any other team besides the Giants and Jets?
But the fucking rookie show.
Yeah. Yeah, they were terrible. They were terrible. Good God.
I don't understand what that fucking. I don't understand what that fucking quiz thing was supposed to be.
That was a disaster. Their dancing was terrible. Everything was bad. That quiz was awful. Oh God.
Well, the dancing was supposed to be the like the step shows that historically black fraternities do, or black fraternities and sororities, I think. But they did the step shows that they do, which I kind of get, but that was not executed at all.
It was not. I don't think they practiced. Like, I'll just get up there and do whatever. It's fine.
And then their nicknames, pork chop. Like, what kind of fucking nickname is pork chop?
Yeah, oof. It's like Bluto was giving to him an Animal House.
Pork chop with gravy. Like, okay, and you still call it fucking pork chop.
God.
At least Aaron Rodgers seems to be happy. So
yeah, take it.
And from all appearances so far, it seems like he's been a good influence on Zach Wilson, which is a good thing.
Yep. I mean, it's only a couple episodes, but Zach Wilson seems to have grown up a little bit, so that's also good.
Imagine that.
Right?
It's almost like he was an immature kid coming out of college. Like pretty much everybody.
Yep.
All right. I assume that's it for Underground. Are we doing Terrible Team of the Week?
Oh, I got one. Don't worry.
All right, hold on. Then it's time for Truman's Terrible Team of the Week.
That's terrible.
So listen, Jim Curtin, you're such a douche. You're such a douche, and you ran your mouth after you beat a shitty Red Bull team about how we talk trash in your stadium, and you've beat us 11 times in a row. And then you promptly got fucking waxed at home by Inter Messi FC. It was 3-0 at the half. The goal Messi scored was weak sauce. I don't even care. That was a weak ass shot from distance on the ground. Goalie must have been sleeping at that point because it was piss poor save attempt. But God, I love seeing him lose and be miserable. That was awesome. I loved that they were down 3-0 at halftime with really no chance to come back. There's a good chance that happens to us in a couple weeks. Because, right, like we said, Messi is completely on a tear right now. But I hope in MLS play that we just break his shin. But, oh, God. Oh, Philly losing like that. Oh, it's fucking delicious.
So, I mean, we would have to talk about the game next week, but what's the bar for success against Miami at the moment? Right, because I think losing close, at least for the Red Bulls, could be considered success.
I think they're still beatable. I think they're a beatable team.
FC. I'm looking at their last few games. I see Dallas took the penalty kicks after 4-4 wild 90 minutes. So
Yeah. As crazy as this sounds, and I know it sounds fucking crazy, I think the Red Bulls have the defense to hold this team up for a little while.
So do you think that this tear Miami's on is strictly because it's Leagues Cup and teams are resting some of their better players? Like
teams are going for it, right? But I don't know. I think league play is just a different animal. And Messi's a fucking monster, and of course they sign more players around him, but I don't know. I like our defense. It's time to go 2001, 2002 MLS and start breaking some shins.
I was going to say, at what point in the Miami game does like Harper or somebody decide to go in a little too hard on Messi and cause a brawl?
I need Mike Pecky on the field style defense from the Red Bulls, not Coach Pecky. Defender Pecky, that guy.
Revenge is coming, Pecky.
Yes, that's the type of defense I want Inter Messi to see.
Well, at least that Miami game will have more cameras and 4K and slow mo and all this other shit.
Absolutely, they will.
So whatever that bone crunching tackle comes in, it'll be captured multiple angles at high
can't wait.
Watch 4K.
Watch his shin spin around and around like a helicopter.
We just need the Taylor Twellman. Peyton Manning-esque broadcast where it's him and another player, and well, I guess not Taylor Twellman because he would be he's the color guy. We need like maybe Bradley Wright Phillips and somebody else to get the like oh shit reactions. Like that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be Bradley Wright Phillips and Will Forte. There you go. A team that makes no sense whatsoever.
Wasn't it Forte and
No, it was Daniel Carter and Will Arnett.
That's Will Arnett
for F1.
Yeah, Ricardo.
Yeah.
You know, fuck it. Let's get Ricardo for this game.
Oh, I'd be down with that too. I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that.
His energy just with one of those games, that'd be awesome.
I love it.
All right. Is there anything else we want to discuss?
Hell no.
Okay.
I hope I see you all on Sunday. I'm pretty excited to be going to game. I don't get to make them out too often, being up here in the Great White North. So let's hang out.
You know, I haven't made it to a game yet. I wonder when I should go. I don't know. I moved like half an hour away, so now it's like a total hour difference and 4 versus 6 or 4 versus 5 hours. It's like a little more daunting.
And the thing is, they are pretty terrible. So I mean,
that's the other thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you really want to effort that trip? Like, I'm going to be down there for the weekend. Do you really want to effort a trip to watch a terrible team?
No, and that's the other thing. It's like I don't have any like weekend things up in the area to like justify. Oh, hey, I'm going to go to this while I'm up here.
Right.
So I don't know. All right. Anyway, let's wrap this one up. You can visit us at patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. $1 a month gets you exclusive content such as monthly wrap-ups, live post games, anything we decide to do. We really need to do something for our patrons because we haven't done anything recently. So we'll have to talk about that. If you want to email us, redbullrant@gmail.com. If you want to call us, 973-348-5329. Leave us a voicemail. Facebook.com/Red Bull Rant. On Twitter, @Red Bull Rant for the show, @Dr. Stooge for myself, @The Truman for Truman. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not Twitter anymore. It's X.
Twitter. It's Twitter. Never,
so much has happened. So much
X.
has happened in the fucking month since we Red Bulls got out of League Cup. Twitter apparently has had to rebrand itself. We're not going to get into the politics aspect, but a former politician has had multiple indictments in different states.
Some guy's in trouble. Imagine what the late night shows are feeling like being on strike this whole time.
Oh, I bet you John Oliver was like, God damn it. I'd have so much fun with this.
Material that all these shows have saved up right now. Anyway.
Yeah. Subscribe to our show via iTunes, YouTube Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Last words before we get out of here.
I can't wait to see you all on Sunday. I hope the Red Bulls don't fuck it up for me and win.
All right. So for Truman and myself, this has been episode 439 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, go Red Bulls.
See you later.